Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. हरे कृष्णा डियर डिवोटीज, आप सबका स्वागत है, आप सबका अभिनंदन है आज की श्रीमद् भागवतम क्लास में. हरे कृष्णा. प्लीज जॉइन अस फॉर जय राधा माधव प्रेयर्स. जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहार, माधव कुंज बिहारी, गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरवरधारी, गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरवरधारी, यशोदानंदन व्रजन रंजन, यशोदानंदन व्रजन रंजन, यमुना तीरा वनचारी, यमुना तीरा वनचारी. जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी. हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Please join us for Mangalacharan prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam, Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiriyet. Shavatam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shamana Kirtanaha, Hridayantasto Hya Bhadrani Vidhunoti Suhatsatam, Nashta Prayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, Bhagavatir Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavti Nashtiki. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. We all like to travel, right? And so today this verse is talking about our travels in this material world. And this verse is from Srimad Bhagavatam, 2nd canto, 2nd chapter, verse 2. And why are we traveling? Because we are seeking happiness. That's the nature. So let's dive into this. verse. Please join us for the recitation of the verse. Srimadbhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 2, Verse 2. Devi, have you shared the link?
Yes, Prabhuji, the verse from Srimadbhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 2, verse number 2 is shared.
Hare Krishna. शाब्दस्य हि ब्रह्मण एष पन्था यन्नामभिर्ध्यायति धीरपार्थः परिब्रह्मं स तत्र न विन्दते अर्थान् मायामये वासनया शयानः. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The way of presentation of Vedic sound is so bewildering that it directs the intelligence of people to meaningless things like the heavenly kingdoms. The conditioned souls hover in dreams of such heavenly, illusory pleasures, but actually they do not relish any tangible happiness in such places. Hare Krishna. Please join us for Guru Prati. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshitarine Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Mukham karoti vachalam pangum langhayate girim yat kripa tadaham vande Shri Gurum Deenataranam. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So today we are hearing where Shukdev Goswami is revealing to Parikshit Maharaj an amazing truth. What is that truth? That these Vedic sounds are bewildering. People are thinking like, wow, I want to hear about Vedas, I want to learn Vedas. Yet at the same time, this instruction seems to be driving in the opposite direction. Why? Because when we try to do something, it's not the what is important, like what we want to do or how we want to do it. First and most important question is, why do you want to do something, right? Why do we want to do something? And people engage in various kind of activities because of one specific desire. We are all, what is our nature? We are always seeking happiness. Anand bhayo abhyasat. Sometimes people say that we are living entities, we are spirit soul having material experience. Then our question to such people is, why are you having material experience? When you are spiritual souls, then you should be having spiritual experience. So spiritual beings should have spiritual experience, which simply starts with the chanting of the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Now this presentation of Vedic sound is bewildering. When Shukdev Goswami is saying this to Parikshit Maharaj, there is a greater instruction. Right? So, why should we study Vedas? And what is it that's in the Vedas? And how people are so much bewildered by the very language of Vedas? These are the three aspects we should be covering. So, yes, the most important aspect is why, but I am going to cover it little later because we want to also experience of people with a small intelligence, what kind of activities they engage in, and what kind of plans they make, and how they are making their lives so difficult when they are seeking sensual pleasure in this material world, and they are making themselves, their life very difficult in this process. So again, we are all seeking true happiness, anand bhayo abhyasat. And so people say, oh, let's go and read Vedas. And what is there in Vedas? And Lord Krishna also wants this. He says, Yamimam pushpitam vacham prapadantya avipaschitaha vedavadarataha partha nanyadastiti vadinaha kamatmaha swargapara janma karma phala pradam kriya vishesha bahulam Bhogeshvarya gatim prati. Translation: men of small knowledge are very much attached to the flowery words of the Vedas, which recommend various fruitive activities for deviation, for elevation to heavenly planets, resultant good birth, power, and so forth. Being desirous of sense gratification and opulent life, they said that there is nothing more than this. So, this is men of small intelligence. They become attracted by the flowery language of Vedas. Now, this man of poor fund of knowledge is another term Srila Prabhupada would use. So, if you are not a person with poor fund of knowledge, of course, you are not bewildered. But those who have poor fund of knowledge, those who have less intelligence, they want to seek heavenly planets. But we are not like that. We want to understand what is it that you get? Why would somebody want to attain heavenly planets? Right? That is something very interesting. But what about these people of a small intelligence? Why are they engaged in this? So, Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter, he continues to elaborate. Bhogeshvarya prasakatanam tayapat chetasam vyavsayatmika buddhir samadho na vidhiyate. In the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence, and who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination for devotional service to the Supreme Lord does not take place. So such people with small intelligence are seeking sense gratification, right? Because the demigod's life is full of enjoyment, pleasure, sense enjoyment I am referring to, not the spiritual enjoyment. The human life is filled with anxiety. What am I going to do tomorrow? What am I going to do now? What is my next task list? And they bring laundry list of tasks, right? That's the nature of the human life. Always seeking to eat, sleep, mate, defend, surrounded with those basic needs, which is same in the animal life, but there is a higher purpose of human life, which is to attain self-realization, to attain understanding of who I am, why am I here, why am I suffering in this material world, and how can I get out of all these sufferings and attain eternal happiness, not the sparks in the dark. I'm not interested in this. Yes, fireworks at night, they look interesting, but when the sun is out, these fireworks become useless because the sun has so much strength. So similarly, I want to be in the presence of Lord Krishna, who is like the sun, who is constantly attracting my senses, and my senses are enlivened, and spiritually they are constantly engaged in his service, and I am getting immense pleasure. Why should I look for flickering pleasure in that case? Now that's where we are touching the why aspect. But people with small intelligence, people seeking sense gratification, people seeking higher birth, seeking wealth, seeking being praised for higher knowledge, they are not in that particular state, right? And then what is the Vedas talking about? Well, we have to understand what are the Vedas. Veda means knowledge, and when we look at the knowledge perspective, we can see that the Vedas are written for all kind of people, which means someone who is very fallen, to help him get up from that position, someone who is seeking some wealth, it gives the solution for that. Someone who is seeking beautiful husband, Vedas give you solution for that. Someone seeking beautiful wife, Vedas give you solution for that. Someone seeking children, again Vedas give you solution. Someone seeking advancement in their career, yes, Vedas give you solution. But these Vedas, they mainly deal with the three modes of material nature. And these three modes are what? Of material nature. They belong to material nature. And the mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance. These three modes are basically the dealing in the Vedas that have been identified. And Lord Krishna reveals this to Arjuna. Te gurniya vishya veda neste gurnyo bhavarjunaha nirdvandva nitya sattvasto niryoga shema atmavan. The Vedas deal mainly with the subject of three modes of material nature. O Arjun, become transcendental to these three modes. Nistya gurniyo bhavarjuna. Be free from all dualities and from all anxieties for gain and safety. and be established in the self. So when he's saying be established in the self, means understand the Lord in the heart and understand your relationship with the Lord. Now that is the purpose. Why do we want to understand Vedas? Because Vedas, the purpose of the Vedas is to understand that our object of worship, our goal is Lord Shri Krishna, the love of Godhead. That is our goal. So yesterday we covered 15:15, the very first half, where Lord is saying Sarvasya Chaham Hridasannivishto Matta Smritir Jnanam Apohanam Cha. Sarvasya Jnanam Hridasannivishto. I am residing in the heart of all living entities, not just human beings, but even ants, even birds, even beasts, every living entity, even in the heart of Lord Brahma. So again, yet at the same time, what happens? By the Lord's influence, we get Jnanam Apohanam Cha. Again, we also understand Sarvasya Chaham Hridasannivishto Mattah Smritir Jnanam Apohanam Cha. From him comes Smriti, remembrance, and Jnanam, knowledge, and Apohanam, ignorance. Now these are coming in the material sense. It makes us forget about our relationship with the Lordship. It's actually a curse, because we never want to forget about the Lordship, but because we have such unwanted material desires, men of a small intelligence, people with poor fund of knowledge, they want to enjoy sense gratification. And Lord, being an affectionate Father, He simply facilitates it. And so, we, in this manner, continue to engage in this. The men with a small intelligence, poor fund of knowledge, they engage on all these various fruitive activities, and they are forgetful of their nature. They are forgetting that we are spiritual beings. But that spiritual being is okay. One is spiritual being. What's next? Well, we have to understand the next step. Vedescha sarver ahameva vedyo. Now here Lord Krishna reveals that the purpose of the Vedas is to know Him, is to understand Him, which is our relationship with the Supreme Lord, Lord Shri Krishna. So, we have to understand what is our relationship. Jivera Suruphoya Krishnera Nityadas. So, we living entities are eternal servant of Lord Shri Krishna. Krishnera Tathashta Shakti Bheda Bheda Prakash. So, again, we are the marginal potency of the Lordship. So, Lord has external potency represented by Mahamaya or Goddess Durga. He has internal potency represented by Radharani. And then we are in the margin. We are either under the influence of external potency, suffering in this world, or we are under the influence of internal potency, enjoying constantly having that unlimited, uninterrupted pleasure. So we make the choice, what do we want to do? So Vedas refer to all these three modes of material nature. And when we are dealing with the three modes of material nature, there is only one thing that's coming in, which is miseries. Yet at the same time, this material nature has a very interesting aspect. It is like a mirage in the desert. And the animal thinks that, okay, there is water in the desert. There is no water in the desert, but the mirage creates an impression that just, little further away is water. And so the animal chases after mirage, doesn't find water there, but sees that there is water ahead. So this is how material nature lures us. She says, just do this activity and then you will be happy. But when we reach there, having attained that position, having attained that wealth, we realize that there is no happiness. But she says, just little more ahead. And that's how we are constantly chasing mirages after mirages. And that's the nature of people with small intelligence. With poor fund of knowledge, they are constantly bewildered by this material nature. And so, what is the solution? So Lord Krishna says, Yavanartha udapane sarvataha samprutokdake tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanasya vijanataha. All purpose served by a small well can at once be served by a great reservoir of water. Similarly, all the purposes of Vedas can be served to one who knows the purpose behind them. Or what is the purpose behind them? Is to know our relationship with Lord Shri Krishna, that's sambandha. And then we engage in devotional service, that's abhideya. And then we attain the love of Godhead. So again, that is the goal of life. Sambandh, abhideya and prayojana. So again we realize how we actually become happy. And that is the interesting aspect. But let's look at the material nature. They are the Vedas causing someone to think that I have to just, seek for the happiness. So Srila Prabhupada in his purpose, he is revealing such amazing facts to us. He is revealing that the Vedic wisdom guides us to understand our relationship with the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. That is the purpose of the Vedas. And the true happiness is, we have to understand the Lord in the heart when He guides us and we take to it. So according to the desire of returning back home, back to Godhead, but attaining spirituality. But materialistic men, they don't understand this. They make plans to go to different planets. Yet at the same time, Brahmana bhavite kauna bhagyavan jiva Guru Krishna prasade paya bhakti lata bija. So again, this has also been revealed to us that we are wandering in this material world, sometimes going up to heavenly planets, sometimes coming down to earthly planets, and then sometimes even going to the hellish planet and suffering the reactions of our impious, sinful activities, impious activities. And so, rather than engaging in sense gratification, which causes us to constantly suffer, because there is no happiness in this material world. There are only two factors, two characteristics of this material world. Dukkhalayam, it is a place of misery, ashashvatam, and there is nothing permanent in this material world. We can look around us, nothing stays permanent. Yet at the same time, if we want to look at permanent aspects, we want to be eternally happy, truly happy, then we have to take to the chanting of the holy name and not make plan to further wander in this material world, not make a plan to be lured by the materialists like Elon Musk and others. They are saying, oh, let's go to Mars. Yes, you have exploited the Mother Earth already. Now you are trying to exploit other human beings by luring them away with the name of Mars or Venus and other planets. This particular program has been going on for last 50 years. At Srila Prabhupada's time also, this program was, luring away the mind of people with poor fund of knowledge. There's small understanding people have, and they think, oh, this person is very opulent, this person is very wealthy, so let's do what they are saying, and that will make us wealthy. But they forget that the capitalist mindset is, oh, let me exploit this so that I become wealthy, and they continue to become poorer and poorer. So again, they go down while I rise up, because that's the relative nature of this material world. While in the spiritual world, everything is absolute. Lord Krishna, He wants to share with us all His glories, which reminds me of a real practical application. So in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, Raj Vidya Raj Guhyam Pavitram Idam Uttamam Parvakshamam Dharmam Susukham Kartum Avyayam Pratyakshamam Dharmam. So he is saying Raj Vidya, this is the king of knowledge. Raj Guhyam, it is the greatest secret. Pavitram, it is most purifying. Uttamam, it is the best. Pratyakshvavagmam dharvyam. So we can actually engage our senses and we can actually perceive them. Now even though our senses are material senses, yet when we engage our gross material senses in devotional service, we can experience the spiritual pleasure. And susukham, and it gives great happiness. Gives you great happiness. Now let's look at a practical example. A practical example is directly coming from our experience in this material world. In India, there is a place known as, in Delhi, Chanakyapuri, where all the ambassadors and their offices are located, right? So these ambassadors, they have big bungalows and they have a lot of servants serving them. But in reality, who's really enjoying the facilities and all the opulence of these ambassadors? It is the servants. All the servants have to do is, in the morning, get up, take care of their master, mistress and the children, and then send them to their work and schools and so forth. Then all day the servants are enjoying the facilities, they are watching TV, they are making wonderful feasts, and then they are enjoying those feasts. And then in the evening, all they have to take care of, as soon as the master arrives, they serve the master, makes him relax, they get the children from the schools and so forth, and then at night they're sleeping very peacefully in well protected gated community. So you can imagine that even the servant is enjoying what the master has achieved. And similarly, when we go back home, back to Godhead, Lord Krishna is such a merciful Father that He wants to share everything with us, so that we feel that how loving He is, and that is the true happiness. So why be in this suffering world and trying to serve miserly masters of this material world who are actually seeking sense enjoyment, sense gratification, and exploiting other human beings? Rather, why not take to one who is our most beloved Father? He is the one who is our best friend. So He is revealing that all sacrifices that we perform should be done for His pleasure, and everything is about Him, because He is the supreme proprietor of all the three, means all the material as well as spiritual universes, and He is our best friend. And that's the purpose of sacrifices, that's the purpose of our activities, is to please the Supreme Lord, who is also known as Rishikesha. And when we serve the master of our senses, Rishikesha, then of course our senses also become very happy. And that is the true way we can experience spiritual happiness. Simply taking to the chanting of the holy name enables this. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Now let's look at how can we understand this in this material world, because we are under the influence of the three modes of material nature. So let's think of what's the worst kind of happiness. Lord Krishna reveals this in the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. He says the happiness which is blind to self-realization, which actually makes us forget our relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which makes us think I am this body, which makes us think that I have to enjoy sensual pleasures and that will make me happy. This kind of happiness, which is from beginning to end, it is filled with delusions, it is filled with mirages. We are chasing one target after another, but we never achieve happiness, right? Which arises from what? Sleep, laziness and illusion. This happiness is said to be in the mode of ignorance. So we should not be ignorant of this fact. Now, sometimes people rise above and they say, okay, we'll engage in various kind of activities, we'll not be lazy, we'll not be sleeping long time, we'll work very hard and then we'll attain happiness. Well, the happiness which is derived from the contact of senses with the objects and engaging in various kind of endeavors, which appears like nectar in the beginning, yes, but ends up being poison in the end, is said to be the nature of the happiness in the mode of passion. Now comes above this when person gets frustrated and says, okay, this is not helping me, and has really become old after so much endeavor, and when retiring people actually realize that all their life they were working for miserly masters and did not receive any happiness in return, but rather they are now worried about how to survive. And some of them are intelligent enough that they take to Krishna consciousness, they engage in spirituality, they engage in the chanting of the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So that happiness, which in the beginning appears like, poison, because hey, getting up at 5:30, for the 3:30 a.m. and getting ready for 4:30 Mangalati, 5:30 starting your chanting, by 8 o'clock finishing your chanting, this appears like very difficult, but this is the nature of this happiness. In the mode of goodness, the happiness is, in the beginning it appears like poison, but at the end it becomes like nectar. Why? Because it enables us to realize our relationship with Lord Shri Krishna. If we understand that He is our object of our worship, He is the object of our worship, and that by serving Him we can attain true happiness. And that happiness is in the mode of goodness, still a material mode. But when we engage in devotional service, then we transcend the three modes. Te gunya vishya veda, like Lord Krishna is telling Arjuna, that you have to engage your prescribed duties in consciousness of me, as per my order. They are not equal. People perform materialistic prescribed duties for sense enjoyment. That is the fallen state, mode of passion. But when these activities are performed for the pleasure of the Lordship, not for sense pleasure, then you rise above the three modes of material nature and attain true happiness. Just like Arjun, by fighting for Lord Shri Krishna, he attained perfection. Just by serving Lord Ramchandra, Hanuman attained perfection. Dhruv Maharaj, he wanted a kingdom greater than his great grandfather. And you would say, wait a minute, who is Dhruv Maharaj's great grandfather? Well, Dhruv Maharaj's father's name is Uttanpad. His grandfather's name is Swayambhuva Manu. And Swayambhuva Manu's father's name is Lord Brahma. Yes, the great grandfather, the first living entity of this material world, and he is creating various kind of living entities, and he is responsible through his progeny, various progenies, and the creation of this material universe. So again, that is where within this material universe the creation is carried out by Lord Brahma, and Dhruv Maharaj wanted even greater kingdom than him. And at that time, when he received the mercy of Devashi Narad, Brahmad bhavite kaun bhagyavan jiva Guru Krishna prasade paya bhakti lata bija. By the mercy, he was wandering in this material world, but by the mercy of Devashi Narad, he received a mantra. What's that mantra? Please, if you know, write it in the comments. Yes, when he received this mantra, he meditated on the mantra, and finally, within 6 months, he was able to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And when he saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord simply touched his conch on the forehead of Dhruv Maharaj, and whatever materialistic desires he had, they simply washed away. And in that purified state, with full knowledge and full consciousness of the purpose of this life, Dhruv Maharaj said, "Oh, I was just looking for the pieces of glass, while I should realize the diamond, which is to serve my spiritual master Devashi Narad by engaging in devotional service, because by his mercy I have finally been able to attain your mercy, my Supreme Lord." And even though he did not want any kingdom, Lord gave him Dhruv planet, which is also known as North Star. And even though all the universe would get destroyed, but Dhruv star still stays as it is. Again, when Lord Brahma goes to sleep, at that time all the way till, Swarglok, all the universes, when Ananta Shesh, from his mouth comes the fire, and Lord Shiva, at the end of the life of Lord Brahma, when he destroys things. So again, when all this destruction is happening, Dhruv planet is untouched. So it is the greater, and it is actually part of the spiritual world, because when Dhruv Maharaj receives the spiritual body, he goes to Dhruv planet in his spiritual body. And what do we do in the spiritual body? We are engaged in spiritual experiences, which are simply starting with the chanting of the holy name, hearing, chanting, and remembering the Lordship. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, we have to understand from Srimadbhagavatam, which is filled, every verse is filled with devotional service. There is a beautiful verse in Srimadbhagavatam. Tasyeva heto prayateta kovido nalabhyate yad brahmatam uparyadha talabhyate dukvadanyatah sukham kalena sarvatra gabhira ramhasha. So in this material world, all the way from Brahma Loka to, Patal Loka, or even hellish planet, there is no pleasure. And people are going all over the place seeking pleasure, but that there is no pleasure, because the nature is dukkhalaya. It's a place of misery. And just like one gets happiness in due course of time, the misery again would come, the distress would come in due course of time. So we have to understand that we don't have to chase after going to different planets. And this plan that the materialistic man, they do not understand, that they are going from one place to another place trying to seek happiness, but there is no happiness. And this false happiness, which is like a mirage, they are trying to reach, like going even to other planets. So sometimes people going to Cancun or other vacation places, right? By spacecraft, by planes, by various, they're taking so much pain in making all these endeavors, and they do not know that there is no happiness. When they reach there, they're like, okay, this is a different place. Now what do? I relax. But what am I supposed to be doing? Because we are active by nature, and it leaves a void in their heart, right? And such people, they cannot benefit. Once again, a misguided person cannot benefit from all this, and the whole universe and its paraphernalia will come to an end after a certain period. So nothing is permanent in this material world. So in this way, all the plans that the materialistic people they create, right, will come to an end. So materialistic happiness does not last, which means that distress cannot benefit a misguided man. And to be properly guided, we have to understand why we should hear about Vedas. To understand the purpose of the Vedas, and the purpose of the Vedas is to know Lord Shri Krishna, the Lord in our heart, and that will give us true happiness. And simply by the hearing, chanting, remembering, the 9 processes will enable us to attain that true happiness. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Granthra Srimadbhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Bhagavad ki jai, Anant Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Go Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna.